I need to get your opinion on something, Jason,
Okay.
because this has been an argument at my extended family's house between me and my mom and my sisters. Let me preface it by saying, in retrospect, I understand I may have overreacted.
Okay.
Let me start there. So on Thursday afternoon after work, I'm on my way home. And every day when I get out of work, I get in the car, I drive, and typically I pick up one of the twins on the way. But this time he wasn't coming home with me. He was going to the gym to work out with a buddy. So I'm on the way home. I call Laramie and I'm doing the like, oh, hey, what's up? How was your day? And then I said, what are you thinking for dinner tonight? And she goes, oh, I'm making some lasagna. And I said, oh, that's great. I love lasagna. Awesome. She's like, yeah, I forgot to get garlic bread. So I'm going to like run to the store and grab it. And I was like, oh, well, I'm on my way home and I don't got to pick up the boy. So I'll just grab it myself and then head to the house and we're good to go. She's like, okay, yeah, that'd be super helpful. So I get to HEB, beloved San Antonio institution.
Yes.
And I go in there to get the garlic bread. And of course I grab like a couple other things. I think I get like a 12 pack of soda and like a box of honey buns because one of the youngest kid likes them for his lunch. So I've got these three things. I'm standing in line. And I'm doing like what you do when you're in the store. I'm just like looking at my phone. As I'm like scrolling on my phone, I realize that the person in front of me is this older woman. She's probably like 65 years old. She keeps like looking at me. I'm looking down and then I keep catching her like turning to look at me. And I look up like one time and we meet eyes now. And I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? Everything, how's it going? And she didn't say anything. She just turned back around and then she just again, we caught eyes again, and I'm like, is everything okay? Like, can I help you with something? And not like in a shitty way, like in a very pleasant, like, how are you? Can I help? And she was like, I'm sorry for looking at you. Like, I know I keep glancing back. Like, you just look so much like my son. And I was like, well, I mean, we're in San Antonio, and I'm a Mexican with a shaved head. There's like 400,000 of us here. Like, I get it. Like making a joke, right?
Yeah.
And then she was like, no, like I could tell something like something was not going great. Not going great here. And she's like, yeah, no, like 2 years ago, he got into a car crash and passed away. And immediately I was like, fuck, like I need to text Laramie and be like, hey, remember the thing about I shouldn't make jokes all the time? Like you were right. Like that's what I'm feeling, right? And so she tells me that, and I'm like, oh God, this sucks. Okay, and I don't know what to say. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry for your loss. Like, I have kids too. I can't imagine what it must be like. And she's like, yeah, thank you so much. Whatever. She's going through the thing, and I'm thinking we're done. And I'm back at my phone, like trying to text Laramie, and I'm putting my stuff up on the conveyor belt. And then she turns around again, and she's like, this is gonna be like a weird request. She says, I never got to tell my son goodbye because he just like went to hang out with his friends, and then he never came back home. She said he was just like, I'm going to go with my friends of mine. Okay, cool. And then he just never came back. And she's like, I didn't get to say goodbye. So when I get to the door, I understand that this is strange, but if at all possible, could I just like turn around and say like, bye, mijo. And then you say back to me, bye, ma. And then can you do that? And I was like, God, I don't want to do this. But like, I can't say no to this poor old lady,
How do you
right?
say
like,
no? Yeah.
How do you say no to that? So I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to do that. Anything I can do to help. She gets her stuff. She gets to the door. I'm like watching. She stops and turns, and she like, with emotion all in her face, and she's like, bye, mijo. And then I just go, bye, ma. And then she leaves, and that's it. And then I'm looking at the guy at the register, like, what's going on?
He's just like, hey,
he doesn't know.
He's just like, can we keep it moving?
Let's keep it. So he boop, 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 rings up my three things. And then he's like, it's $104. And I'm like, I'm sorry? 100. And he's like, 104. How's it $104? How much does garlic bread cost? I got garlic bread. I got some soda and a can and honey buns. And he's like, no, but you have to pay for, your mom said you were going to pay for her stuff as well.
Yo, you got to.
And I was like, fucking scammer. I got took. I was like,
got took.
I got
honestly,
took.
like, I respect it. You got took.
I didn't respect it. This is what, so I was like I was freaking out. Not like, if she would have just said, can you pay for my groceries? I would have been like, sure, I guess.
Yeah.
But she didn't do it. She scammed me. I hustle over to the door. I look around and I see her getting into her car, like loading the groceries. I'm like, hey. And she turns and sees me, see her, and like she knows she's busted. And immediately she just like throws the stuff and then gets in the car. And I like hustle over there. And I get to, I'm like, duk, 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 on the window. Hey.
Whoa.
And yeah. Like, you, what are you doing? Like, you can't. She's like trying to start the car, and I grab the door, and it's open. She didn't lock it. So,
this is Texas, Shea. You need to be careful.
I open the door, and I'm like, you need to go pay for the groceries. I'm not paying for your groceries. She's like, I'm not paying. No. Like, she just like, get away from me. Leave me alone. And I like grab her by the arm, and I'm like, come on, let's go. And I like pull her arm. She's like, get off of me. And then I like grab her. I'm like pulling her leg, and I'm pulling her leg, and I'm pulling her leg like I'm pulling your leg. Like, this didn't happen. This is just
Shea, you. Can I tell you a real story? It's very short. My friend's mom, they live up in Ojai, which is about 40 minutes
Wait,
north
hold on.
Of Los Angeles.
That's all I get for this great
That
story
was
of this lie that I crafted?
You had me going. Yeah, I was more concerned because now I was actually I was worried about you because you can't in Texas go pounding on people's doors and opening their doors and try to pull them out of their cars.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought it was going to be
a bigger reaction. I was worried, and then when I realized that you were pulling my leg, now I'm kind of upset. But I'm going to tell you the story. My friend's mom lives up in Ojai and sees Jason Segel, actor Jason Segel, all the time. Okay. I guess he lives up there. She sees him at the grocery store on like regularly, and Jason somehow got it in his mind that he knows my friend's mom from somewhere and keeps being like, hey, how are you? What's going on? And she just plays along with it now. Where she's like, hey, good to see you. What's going on? They don't know each other.
They just became buddies?
That's the thing my friend's mom does is plays that she knows Jason Segel when Jason Segel is trying to figure out how he knows my friend's mom when they run into each other at the grocery store.
I love it. Shout out Shrinking. Great television show. Did you watch Shrinking?
I did.
It's really good. Did you watch Neon? The hit show on Netflix.
Man, I can't. Here's the thing. I actually was late for today's recording because I can't stop watching Neon. I can't stop.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure. There's the co-creator, Max Searle.
What a wonderful guy and a great Knicks fan.
I keep telling him every week that we're going to talk about Neon on the show, and then we don't. And every week he texts me like, did I miss it? What happened? Y'all go watch Neon on Netflix. Jason, you want to start the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
From Wondery, I'm Shea Serrano.
And I'm Jason Concepcion.
And this is 6 Trophies.
Hello, I'm Jason Concepcion. Welcome to 6 Trophies, a podcast series hosted by myself and Shea Serrano. In it, we comb through all the NBA news from the past week and hand out 6 pop culture themed trophies for 6 basketball-related activities. This episode, Dame Lillard introduces himself to Milwaukee, a late-night Woj bomb. James Harden wiggles his way to the Clippers. Luka sprinkles a little magic across the court in Dallas. All that and more right now.
I don't know why that's making me laugh now. It's so like official.
I love it.
It's so official.
It's like waking up in the military.
You would never know that all that I did was I just typed fancy trumpet noises into Google, and that's what I got. We did 2 sets of trophies. The big trophies and the little trophies. The big trophies are up first. These ones are the same every week. First up, the Denzel Washington and Training Day Trophy, given out to whoever it is who had the best overall performance of the week. This week's winner, Damian Lillard.
What a debut by Dame. Followed up, we have to say,
I wanted to talk about this.
Followed up by the worst game of his entire career.
It wasn't that great of a follow-up game, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I think it's your first game in Milwaukee. This is the first time everybody's getting to see you. What are you going to do? And what Dame does is he goes 39, 8, and 4 is the stat line he puts up. Sets a franchise record for the most points in a debut game. Previous holder, Spurs legend Terry Cummings, by the way, 34.
Wow, Terry Cummings, Blazers legend, Spurs legend.
But Dame shows up, 39, 8, and 4. In the final 4 minutes, the Bucks are down by 2 after they've given up a 19-point lead, and it's like, oh shit, is this not that great of an opening for Dame? Damian then hits a 3, draws a foul on a 3, hits all the free throws, hits an and 1 plus the free throw, hits another 3, and then hits 2 more free throws to ice the game. 14 points in the final 4 minutes, including the 1-3 that he hit to put them up 116 to 111 with about a minute and 15 seconds left, where he goes ISO against Kelly and just darts left, goes behind his back to his right, crosses back to his left, then does a step back pull up, that one that he loves from like 26 feet out, and just fucking splashes it in there.
Three-pointer flies. And he's got another one. Damian Lillard doing what he does.
He was so good. It was so much fun to watch that we talked about other people for this category, but it just felt like if we're looking at an individual moment, nobody had a bigger moment than that one right there. Then Dame introducing himself to Milwaukee.
Yeah, there were some other really, really cool performances last week. Our guy Chet, 7 blocks versus the Cavs. More on Chet later.
Boo.
16 points, 13 rebounds, 7 blocks versus the Cavs. Come on. Darren Fox, a big 37 points, 8 assists, a bunch of it towards the end, like on a twisted ankle to put away the Lakers. But this Dame performance, because it, one, gave us a glimpse of that Giannis Dame pick and roll that is just going to be devastating. It's going to be devastating. And for the fact that, like, one of the big questions coming in was, what are they going to do down the stretch of games, close games? And we got an answer here, it's Dame time. Yes. It's Dame time in Milwaukee. They're gonna throw it to Dame, and it's gonna be him running the show. And what a guy to hand the keys to. A shame that he then followed it up with 6 points versus the Hawks.
Listen, Damian Lillard has played in, as we record this, 771 basketball games.
Okay.
He's only scored less than 10 points in 0.02% of those games. This is an aberration, his game against the Hawks. I don't care at all about that. If he would have done it in the first one, sure, maybe you could be like, well, Dame does get nervous. Like, the whole thing with Dame is that he's never nervous. It doesn't matter the stakes. And we saw in the very first game, if you were going to be nervous in a game, it's your first one in front of those Milwaukee fans. And he was fucking outstanding. It was so exciting.
It threw off my internal clock a little bit because I'm like, why is it Dame time already? Like, it's October. It's late. It's mid to late October. Why is it already Dame time? Why am I already experiencing Dame time at this point in the calendar? It confused me.
He's clutch all year. I was watching Damian Lillard highlight videos on YouTube. That's like a thing stuff. I like to do. And he's got like a 12-minute video of just clutch shots that he's hit against every single team in the league. Like, that's just what he does. And it was so unbelievable to watch him do it here in this setting with Giannis just straight up being like, here, take, like, just running the ball to him and being like, here,
let's get you open.
Yeah. Go, Dame, here, do what you do, Dame, do what you do, do what you do. Just like feeding it to him, and he just keeps delivering. There's just something about when you expect a person to do the thing and they just keep doing the thing, and you're like, fuck.
It is crazy.
I kind of didn't think he was going to do it that time.
That's like Robert Horry for me, where I was just like, this guy can't hit another shot. Oh my God, he did it again. I can't believe. Why is this guy ever open? You should be grabbing him at all times. You should be like, you should have him in a headlock. You just should not ever how can this guy get open? Same thing with Dame. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Because this is a question I struggle with. Rooting for a team with some shaky playoff performers currently. Are clutch guys, Darren Fox, another guy we just mentioned, he won the inaugural Jerry West Award for clutch performers last season. Can you make a clutch guy, or are they born? Like, can you become a clutch guy?
No, you can't.
You don't think, like, with enough reps and just like going through your runs and working on stuff and just making it, like, getting those 10,000 repetitions in, that you can eventually become a clutch performer?
No, I don't think. Number one, I don't think you can. Even if you were somehow able to replicate all of the pieces of a late game scenario and drop a player into it, I think even if you had James Harden do that 500 times, it wouldn't make a difference late when he actually had to
How'd
do
you
it.
know I was thinking about James Harden?
I don't know. I saw it in your eyes. I think the second part of that is that even if you could make it, even if you could practice that,
yeah,
there's just too many other people. Like you can't have 17,000 people watching you practice with the same sort of pent up energy. Like it just doesn't feel the same. This is why when you're playing at the park or whatever, or in the driveway, and you're like 3, 2, 1, and you shoot, you don't feel anything. It doesn't feel like it's not the same. But no, I don't think you can replicate it.
What if you had like guys dressed as like Michael Myers, like at practice? You know what I mean?
Just like swinging a knife around,
walking slowly towards you as the clock counts down, like something like. You don't think you could simulate it enough?
No, I maybe if you no. Okay. I'm trying to talk myself into it. Okay.
I think you're right, by the way, because I've never yet seen a guy all of a sudden become a killer late game guy. It just doesn't really happen.
No, it doesn't. I think if we're talking here about Damian Lillard and James Harden, I think this is a perfect example. It took Damian Lillard, I think, like 1 or 2 playoff games. If we're looking at like end of game, like less than 2 minutes, 3 minutes left, and he hits a shot that gives his team the lead, right? Like the first playoff series he had was against Houston, was against James Harden's Rockets. And in game 1, he did it. And then, of course, he ends the series with the game 6 buzzer beater, right? But it took him, in his first playoff series, he did it, versus James Harden has played right now in 149 playoff games. And across those 149 playoff games, he has 1 go-ahead shot in the final minute of the fourth quarter or overtime. Before we go to the next trophy, some other people that we talked about getting this possible award: Tyrese Maxey, who went bonkers against Toronto; Cam Thomas, who he's like, as we record this, he's the number 2 scoring leader in the NBA. It's Luka and then him, 33 points per game.
Well, it's going to continue. I think we all understand that at the end of the 82, that is going to be the case.
We talked about Chet, who had 7 blocks against Cleveland. We talked about Jalen Duren, who is playing.
Man, he looks good.
The best basketball of his life. We talked about the Nuggets, who are playing like champs, and the Clippers, who squeaked by the Spurs for a win this past weekend. It was a soft 40-point victory for the Clippers.
Soft.
They barely did it. If we would have hit 13 threes in a row at the end of the game, like in the final minute, we would have been right there. We would have had a chance. The next trophy, the Lauryn Hill, you might win some, but you just lost 1 trophy. Give it out to whoever it is who had the worst performance of the week. And listen, we originally recorded this Monday morning. We had a whole different thing here, a whole different setup. Right. But then Monday evening, under the dark of night, 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wojenheimer. Zuri, can you give me some like big bomb noises?
The Wojenheimer.
Maybe some of those old time the news alert. 2:00 in the morning, James Harden gets traded to the Clippers. The Clippers get James Harden, PJ Tucker, and Philip Petrusev. Is that how you say his name?
Petrusev, yeah.
The Sixers get Nicholas Batum, Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, KJ Martin, and some draft picks.
Bunch of picks.
They win the trophy this week. Both sides, the Sixers and the Clippers. This is the rare trade, Jason. The rare trade where both teams come out of it and they're like, yeah, all right, we both got worse. Here we
I disagree. First of all, I just want to note something. The Clippers love to do stuff late. Steve Ballmer, total weirdo. I just picture him sitting in the dark at like 1 a.m. and then he like texts his front office like, do it, James Harden, do it tonight. Like, why is this stuff when they did the Tobias Harris deal also announced at 2 a.m. Just real weirdo stuff out of the Clippers. That said, I think the Sixers got better by subtraction. Yes, James Harden, when he's flowing, during the regular season is, I think you'd say like a better player than Tyrese Maxey, and certainly is one of the greatest offensive players in recent league history and league history. That said, the vibes were bad. You know, you have a guy who's openly feuding with the GM. The GM's not going anywhere. Joel Embiid is watching his window slowly close. Tyrese Maxey, and I don't know if there's been more on a young player's shoulders than the stuff that's currently weighing down Tyrese Maxey that we've ever seen. But he is shining. It's like the whole reason they're doing this trade now is that they're looking at Tyrese Maxey and they're going, wait, I think this guy's a star.
Hold on. Yeah,
I think he might be a star. Yeah, like he's giving us a double-digit scoring performances plus rebounding plus the assists. He's not a great defender, but neither was James. And he's got that playoff edge that James Harden has never displayed. He's got that little bit of like, I want to show you who I am. And I think they made a bet that whatever they're losing in James, Tyrese Maxey is gonna bring back to them, maybe in a different way, you know, in abundance. And I think it's addition by subtraction for the Sixers, and for the Clippers, it's just weirdo stuff. I mean, this is like they've now got like 4 former MVP level players, potentially current MVP level players if they're healthy, and who knows how this is going to turn out, but you've already got Russ on the team who didn't want to play with James very recently.
Yeah.
This is going to be crazy stuff. This is going to be wild stuff in Clipperland.
See, this is you're making my argument out for why this is a lose-lose for both teams. Because the Clippers, they trade away some smaller pieces, sure. I like PJ Tucker. Maybe I like him more than most people. I like him on the team. I think that's a big get. But when James Harden walks into the room, as you mentioned, we know it didn't work with Russ, like on multiple occasions. It's not going.
I mean, you could make the argument it hasn't worked with any. It's not worked with any co-star he's ever had.
Like the Clippers are getting a guy who forced his way out of Houston, and then he forced his way out of Brooklyn, and then he forced his way out of now Philly. Like that's who's walking in to their building. An incredible offensive basketball player, yes, but also in my head like a very exotic plant that requires like when it blooms, it's beautiful. This is like an incredible thing, right? But it needs to have the exact right pH balance in the soil and the exact right amount of water and the exact right amount of sunlight, and one single centimeter or 1 single degree in the opposite direction, and the car starts to shake. You know what I mean? Like that's who's walking into the Clippers. And the Sixers are losing a former league MVP, a 3-time scoring champion, like one of the great offensive basketball players ever. Even if you start to argue like, sure, but he hacked basketball. Okay, he did, but it was incredible to watch, and it was very effective during the regular season anyway. Like this feels, I don't know, it feels like they both lost here, so they both get the trophy.
The Clipper side of this is super, super interesting because they've basically become like a distressed superstar recycling plant in which all of their players are like insurance policies for the other players. Mm-hmm. It's like, you wouldn't do this if Kawhi and PG were healthy all the time.
Right.
You wouldn't bring Harden in unless you had Kawhi and PG to score in the playoffs and to do stuff in crunch time. And then you wouldn't do this unless you were sure that Russ is settled enough in his role. He's been playing really well. To accept Harden. It's going to be really weird to see how this turns out. And, but the good thing is they didn't give up very much, and Harden is an unrestricted free agent next year. So, and there was already rumblings that like, you know, the Clippers are like, how much longer can we do this with? Certainly, do we want to re-up with Kawhi and Paul George when they're never healthy? Unclear. I think this is last chance saloon. Let's make a real big, effort this year. Hopefully everybody stays healthy and we go for it. And if it doesn't work, we blow it up. You blow it up. You blow the whole thing up. Steve Ballmer's the 10th richest man in the world. Just blow it up and start over.
It's such a weird thing to like step back if we go 2017 or whatever, 2017, 2018. Like to think about in a couple of years, effectively what's going to happen is James Harden and PJ Tucker together are going to get traded basically for Marcus Morris and Robert Covington. Like that's the swap that happened. And that's just, it's kind of like, how did we get here? Well, we know exactly how we got here, but it's kind of like, how did we get here is what it feels like.
I mean, you know what's wild? I remember, when I first started watching the NBA, I didn't understand anything that came before. So like to me, Bernard King was like this washed guy and like all these players, Kiki Vandeweghe was like a bench guy.
Yeah.
I wonder, like, what are young players getting into NBA, young fans getting into NBA basketball when they look at like the stats that Harden put up? It's going to be crazy for them to have fans who have been watching a little longer be like, okay, here's all the context on the James Harden stuff. He's one of the strangest players to explain to new fans coming in. It's just going to be absolutely weird to explain his entire arc.
It's like my last year of teaching, 2014, 2015. I remember having a conversation with a student and like genuinely trying to explain, no, listen, like at one point, Lil Wayne was the greatest rapper on the planet. Like this is a thing that happened. It's like, there's no way. The guy who just did, there's no way. And I'm like, yeah, like it's just, yeah, I'm right there with you. We should point out for anybody who's watching this on video, not the podcast version, you will have noticed, I'm sure, we went from wearing normal clothes to suddenly being dressed like this. And that's because we recorded this the day after. We recorded this on Halloween morning, but all the rest of the podcast we recorded on Monday. So now we're going to go back to our normal clothes after we finish this segment. All right, now you're all caught up. Also, I feel, Jason, tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like I'm kind of crushing this hat right now. Like I think it looks genuinely good.
I mean, like are you a hat guy now? I kind of feel like you might be a hat guy now.
Look how nice my eyebrows look in the hat. They look weird without the hat, but with a hat, oh shit.
And you haven't even begun to experiment with like different creases in the brim. Wait until you start becoming like a different crease guy.
Yeah, like wait until I put like a little feather right here on the side, like a Bronx tail, like C in a Bronx tail. I'm gonna start doing like this.
Yeah, little dip.
Yeah, I feel like. Remember in Electric Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo?
Electric Boogaloo.
When Ozone is on top of the community center and it's like umbada, and he does his hat. That's sorry. Can you put the music? The Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo. All right. Next trophy. The Dominic Toretto I Live My Life a Quarter Mile at a Time trophy, given out to a person or team who made a short-term decision with no regard for future consequence. This week's winner, Luka Dončić, and his one-handed go-ahead miracle three that he hit.
Hand off back to Luka, late in the shot clock, 4 seconds, got it from Kleba, again late in the clock, in desperation, he puts it up, and that is Luka Magic right there!
That's a nasty boy. That's
he
a nasty
is a
little
bad,
boy.
bad dude. And it's more infuriating. Him and Jokic have this ability to just throw in what looks like bullshit and it goes in. And you're just like, no, oh God, if this goes in.
Yeah.
That one-hander, bank, by the way, the strength, first of all, to get it off. And then for it to go in, he's just ridiculous. I mean, the stat line, 16 of 25, 9 of 14 from 3. Just complete stud. Amazing player. And they're going to need him to do this all season because beyond Luka, Kyrie, that's kind of it,
49, 10, and 7 is just completely goofy. But I think even goofier than that is he hits the last 4 shots for the Mavericks, all of which are 3-pointers, each one getting a little more difficult than the last, with the final one being just there's 2 seconds left on the shot clock. Spencer Dinwiddie is inside of my jersey. I'm about to fall out of bounds. There's another defender by me. Let me just chuck it up off the backboard. Oh, not Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith.
Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah. Dorian Finney-Smith is on him.
Ex-teammate.
Yeah, and then Dorian, of course, after the game says, like, nah, he didn't call glass on that. Like, he better not say that he did either. And then Luka has the great, I said it in Slovenian, so he wouldn't understand. Like, I want to hate Luka so bad. Like, I really want to hate him, and he just makes it impossible. He's averaging 41 points per game right now, shooting 58% from the field, 48% from 3. I don't get it.
It's an amazing shot. Our good friend, Jason Gallagher, who is also a Mavs fan, has been talking offline, texting about how, that it might be a tough season for the Mavericks. They look pretty thin outside of their 2 big stars and Grant Williams, who they brought in. The rest of the guys, you don't know where the scoring and rebounding and stuff is going to come from. They're starting a rookie at center who's played well in spurts. But man, Luka, he could do this all season. He could continue to do it. That's the thing. He could really keep just doing this. They keep putting stats up there when he has these games where you're like, oh, he just passed Wilt for most 40-point triple. And you're just like, wait, what?
The only other person who we considered for this category, he did the opposite of Luka throws up the one-handed prayer bank in to give the Mavericks the lead in the final 30 seconds of the game. The opposite of that, Jordan Poole, in the first quarter of his game, in 6 minutes into the game, shoots a corner 3, turns around, stares down the Grizzlies bench as the ball just clanks off the rim. Like, that's living your life a quarter mile at a time right there. He let that thing go. And next trophy, the Daniel Plainview, I've abandoned my child. I've abandoned my boy trophy, which is given out to whoever it is we're temporarily giving up on for the week.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
This week's winner, we're giving up on the Chicago Bulls.
Oh my God. So it's, the Chicago Bulls have a roster that probably should have been blown up 3 years ago. And all of its players seem to be at odds. They had a players only meeting after the first game. After game 1, a disheartening throttling at the hands of the young Oklahoma City Thunder. Julia Poe on Twitter, currently known as X, reported Billy Donovan says when he walked into the Bulls locker room tonight, players were already in heated conversations. He asked if they wanted him to leave to handle the conflict, and they said yes. So he did. He adds, and this is a crazy quote. This quote is crazy. Donovan emphasized that embracing conflict is key for this year's roster, which is it's just like saying, hey, listen, this is going to fucking suck and you're not going to like it. You're all going to have to figure out how to deal with that. No, go ahead.
Nobody was happier than Billy Donovan when he asked, should I leave? And they said yes.
Yeah, he was
so, see ya. He did like when they leave in a cartoon and there's a puff of smoke in the person's shape. Like, that's how fast he got out of there. He was so happy to be told to leave.
Game 2, they beat the Raptors 104-103 in crazy circumstances. And then next game, they get killed by their regional rivals, the Pistons, 118-102, with Zach LaVine scoring 51.
51.
And they lose by 16. Folks, it's not going great. This team is going to get blown apart sometime this season if this continues. Because this can't continue. This is not good. This can't keep happening. You can't have a guy score 50 and you lose the game by double digits.
50 points and no assists.
That's an Allen Houston special.
The first the first Bull to do it since Michael Jordan in 1996, 50 points and no assists. If I was in the NBA, I would lead the league in 0 assist games. I would never pass that thing. Never, not ever.
This is bad. This is rough. Vucevic still being on that team is wild. It is a team in turmoil and has been for a number of years with various front office people coming in and coming out, ruining their reputations in basketball and then leaving due to their mismanagement. The heights that they have fallen from the Jordan years are really, it's epic, and it continues. And it's a great franchise. Let's hope they get it together. But folks, this is a bad look. You can't have a players only meeting after game 1.
That's the least number of games you can play. And have
you
a players
can't
only
play.
meeting. Yeah.
You literally can't play less than. You'd have to do it after 0 before the game. Have a players only meeting where you're just like, guys, it's not working.
Next trophy, the Chief Keef That's That Shit I Don't Like trophy, which is given out to a player or team who does something and we just don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. This week's winner, Adam Silver versus the Big Three. I don't like it.
Man,
I don't like it.
Antitrust, that's the shit I do not like.
The NBA reportedly under investigation by the Department of Justice over the Professional Basketball League's suspected interference with Ice Cube's Big Three basketball league. That's the story that came out. I don't like it. Leave them alone.
Leave the Big Three alone. What are they doing? They're not interfering with you. It's just a place where players who have retired can go and make some extra money and have fun. And the games are fun. But according to TMZ Sports, the NBA has used its weight to stop the Big Three from forging relationships with sponsors, with television networks, stopping NBA refs from working for the Big Three in the offseason. And it's a bad look. Don't Bigfoot the Big Three. Let them do their thing. Who cares about the Big Three?
They're fine. Like what? Like it's leave Joe Johnson alone. Leave Tony Allen alone. Like they're playing basketball and they're doing their own little thing. You don't got to try to stop them. What are you worried about?
Adam Silver really said that refs will not work for the Big Three for life. If they want to continue their relationship with the NBA. Come on. Don't do this.
I don't like
this
it.
Is bad. This is just looks
I don't
petty.
like it.
Come on.
I don't like it. The Step Brothers Catalina Wine Mix Trophy. Give it out to the thing we're most excited about for the upcoming week.
It's here,
this
folks.
This week's winner.
It's
the
here,
Midseason
folks.
Tournament.
It's here, folks. It's the Midseason Tournament. Adam Silver's big idea. Let me ask you this, Shea. So in football, in international football tournaments, they have what is called the group of death. You've heard this phrase.
I have not. Please tell me.
So in the group, tournaments are often formatted in much the same way the NBA's in-season tournament is formatted, where they have group play, where they have a selection of teams that will all compete against each other, and the best teams in those groups will then move on to the knockout stage. And usually those are selected at random, and whenever, as always happens in every tournament, there'll be one group that is just stacked, and that is called the group of death. So I'm gonna give you the groups, and you tell me who you think the group of death is. East Group A, Philly, Cavs, Hawks, Pacers, Pistons. Group B in the East, Bucks, Knicks, Miami Heat, Wizards, Hornets. East Group C, Celtics, Nets, Raptors, Bulls, Magic. Who is the East Group of death?
That's the B. Group B.
B, Bucks, Knicks, Heat, Wizards, Hornets. Here's your West groups. Grizzlies, Suns, Lakers, Jazz, Blazers, Group A. Group B, Nuggets, Clippers, Pelicans, Mavericks, Rockets. Group C, Kings, Warriors, Timberwolves, OKC, San Antonio Spurs. Who is your West group of death?
I want to say San Antonio's group, but it's not. It's Denver. Any group with Denver in it, yeah.
Clippers, Nuggets, and then Mavericks with Luka on a heater. Pelicans with Zion looking very, very springy, and the Pelicans looking very tough right now. They just killed my Knicks. That is going to be a really, really fun group. And I got to tell you, now that it's here, and I'm legitimately excited. I was like, let's see how this thing goes until the NBA dropped the promo with Christopher Moltisanti.
Yeah, Michael Imperioli shows up.
And I was like, you know what? I'm in. I'm all the way in now. Like, all it took was the commercial, and now I care about it.
One NBA Cup, all leading right here. The most unpredictable city in the world. Yeah, I know. It's an ambitious task, sure.
It's a good commercial. He's very cool.
It is really cool. Ocean's 11 style, heist movie kind of framing. Should the
advertising
NBA,
works.
Advertising really works. Now, listen, should the NBA, who has recently forged relationships with sports gambling establishments, as many leagues have, should they be leaning into the gambling aspect of this? Who cares? It worked for me. It worked for me, and I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see what it's like.
They should let Michael Imperioli do all of the commercials, and he should only ever do them as his character from Goodfellas.
Now, I will say, and I'm proud of this, for years, I have been promoting my idea for an in-season tournament, which I called Cash Cup. And the NBA has kind of done it. Players on the winning team of this tournament will get $500,000. Runners-up will get $200,000. Losing players on the semifinals each get $100,000. And losing players in the quarterfinals get $50,000. But my other wrinkle to this would be that I think you have to have all the cash, like, on the sidelines for that finals game.
Like World Series of Poker.
Just like that. Take all that money, all the prize money, and put it on a big table and keep cutting to it throughout the games. I just think it will add a tremendous amount of juice to these proceedings. Let me see that cash.
Yeah, because you figure, was it 15 players on a team, and every player on the winning team gets $500,000? That's $7.5 million. That's just on the scorer's table, right by where LeBron does the chalk, just stacked up right there.
just a big pile of cash.
That's all the big trophies. Let's do the little trophies. These ones change every week and are situation specific. They're for the smaller storylines that we want to mention but don't need to get all the way into. I'll go first, Jason.
Do it.
The Michael Scott Liar Trophy.
Liar! You are a liar.
To Rich Paul, who said, with regard to shooting the basketball, he's in the same class as Stephen Clay. He told that to Shannon Sharp. It's me, Stephen Clay, if we're talking about just shooting, only shooting. Me, Stephen Clay. I respect it, though. If you're going to tell a lie, make it a lie worth telling.
Is anybody ever going to check?
Who's going to prove? He could hold on to that forever. As long as he never touches a basketball again, as long as he never shoots a basketball again, he can hold on to this. Because a part of me is like, I kind of believe him. Honestly, I believe him 4%. We're talking about a guy who from nothing built one of the most successful sports management businesses in the world.
That's right.
I kind of believe he could probably shoot that basketball pretty well. If he decided he wanted to do that, he probably could. I don't want to give him this trophy anymore. Is there a Michael's? He convinced me, and he wasn't even here. I'm gonna ungive it to. I'm gonna ungive it to Rich Paul. Apologies, Rich Paul. I'm gonna give this trophy now to me for calling him a liar.
Wow. This is an incredible, I've never seen anything like this. You pulled an Uno reverse card on yourself.
On myself. What an
Here's
idiot.
my first little trophy. It's the Martin Scorsese's mom, Catherine, in Goodfellas. Make yourselves comfortable. I'll make you something to eat trophy.
Go inside, make yourselves comfortable. I'll make you something to eat.
Go to sleep.
2, Nikola Jokic, the Joker, for feeding the Thunder 28 big points and 14 rebounds on the way to throttling the team, and then later telling Chet that he needs to hit that cafeteria. He needs to, quote, fatten up. The Nuggets just absolutely killed the Thunder.
So good.
Defensively choked them out. Watch the highlights if you didn't watch the game, because Chet is really good, as Jokic said in part of his after game comments. He's like, that guy's really talented. He's got a really unique skill set. The other thing is Jokic probably outweighs him by like 250 pounds and looked like he was carrying a backpack on him when Chet was trying to guard him. We're just doing all his moves. Chet just couldn't do anything. It like was just getting thrown around like a piece of seaweed in the waves as Jokic just like turned and pivoted and went to the basket, did anything he wanted to do.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
It was a real display. And as Jokic said after the game, he's got to fatten up. I think he's got to fatten up. I think that's true. I also think, does he? But yes, if he plays center, if they're going to have him continue to play center, like you're going to have to get some butt on you. You got to add butt.
I'm excited. I'm excited for what it appears is going to happen is the Nuggets, same as what they did last year. They made it all the way to the finals before everybody was like, hold on a second, are these guys pretty good? And then they won the title. This year, they're already doing it. They're going to go town to town, city to city, beat everybody's favorite team is what they're going to do. And then come like March or April, everybody who's not in Denver is going to be like, this kind of fucking sucks. We need to really beat these. Like, they're going to become hated, and I can't wait. I love when the NBA has a big bully, like the big bully team that just comes through. When the Warriors were running everyone off the court or whatever.
Yeah.
When the early 2000 Lakers were running everyone off the court. When the Bulls were running everyone off the court. It's so much fun to have a big bully in the NBA. And the Nuggets look like that's where they're headed. And I can't wait. Here's my next little trophy. The DMX. Hey, yo, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up trophy.
Hey, yo, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up. Hey, yo, I'm slipping. I'm falling. I can't get up.
Fucking good-ass song. To Chet Holmgren, who had his legs turned into a plate of linguine by Andre Drummond on a fast break. On a fast break. Pop, pop. Down he goes. Down he goes. I would also like to award it to Dylan Brooks, who then also, I think it was the next day, possibly the same day, also had his legs turned into a plate of linguine by Steph Curry. Just totally turned him upside down. I don't know why, Jason, whenever this happens, this is the first thing that comes into my head is that their legs got turned into a plate of linguine. And I don't know what it is about linguine, but man, it makes me laugh every time.
Chet really showing out in the entire program today.
He's having a good run. He's fun to watch.
He's really fun to watch, and that OKC team is very, very talented.
I'm gonna enjoy rooting against him because people are already comparing him and Wemby together. They're like matching them up.
You, this is gonna. Both... You're don't step on my third trophy. I'm very excited to unveil my third trophy. My second trophy, the Cedric the Entertainer in Jay-Z's Threats trophy.
Yo, what's up, pimp? This Threats. That's right. This Threats, pimp. And I'm serious about mine. I'm so sincere.
To Mike Brown for threatening to pull Keegan Murray from the game when he hesitated on taking a three. The Kings beat the Lakers Sunday night. Keegan Murray had a nice game. 17 points, plus 13. But in the second half, Keegan Murray pump faked on a three and then drove in and then and traveled. Because he was a little hesitant to take the three. Mike Brown stood up, pointed at reigning EuroLeague MVP, and Kings free agency pickup Sasha Vesnikov, and was like, "You're going in the game." But then the very next play, Keegan pulled the trigger on a three and hit it. And then Mike Brown was like, Sasha was like, "Okay, sit down. You're not going in the game." And then was asked about it after the game, and Mike Brown was just like, yeah, Keegan needs to, I was going to pull him out, but Keegan needs to take that shot.
Shoot the ball,
shouts
Keegan.
to Mike Brown for making threats.
My last little trophy, the no strings attached, because I love you, it's obvious I completely love you trophy.
Because I love you. It's obvious I completely love you.
I'm giving this to whoever it was who made the NBA schedule this year and set it up so that LeBron would play in Sacramento on the 20th anniversary of his NBA debut in Sacramento. I love that. I love that so much. Whoever had that idea in whatever meeting it was that they had it, I love you a great deal. Those little type of like nerdy basketball things just give me it's a potent amount of joy that just like a little dollop of joy on my day. Shout out that person, whoever that person is.
My final little trophy is the Richie Aprile in The Sopranos. A guy hands you a light envelope. It's just the beginning trophy.
Guy hands you a light envelope. It's just the beginning.
2, Chet Holmgren for calling out the NBA stats keepers after his gargantuan performance against the Cavs. Like 16 points, 13 rebounds, 7 blocks. Now, Chet thinks he got shortchanged. Here is Chet on X, formerly known as Twitter. Quote, please go watch the tape at NBA. He added the NBA. At NBA, please go watch the tape and give me the correct number of blocks. I don't care about stats. Okay, Chet. But I worked hard as fuck for those. Good W, thunder up, lol. Now listen, first of all, you can't say I don't care about stats and then say give me all my stats. But I still love this look for Chet, who has shown himself to have a little bit of he's got an edge,
He's
man.
got an edge. He's got an edge to him.
I
like
Calling out Wemby on social. Now he's going directly at the NBA like, yo, where's my stats? I gotta tell you, the Rookie of the Year race between him and Wemby, it's gonna be heated because I think someone's gonna be mad. I think there's a very real chance that Chet has, quote, better stats. Wemby wins, and Chet is very, very angry. And whatever the case may be, I'm just looking forward to this because Chet has an edge, and I love it.
I am right there with you. I really enjoy this aspect about Chet. Like, he just likes to talk shit, and he's very confrontational. It makes for a good basketball player. Because he wants to be good. He wants so desperately to be good. He's going to do everything that he can possibly do to be good. And he's going to let everybody else know that he's gotten good. And I really enjoy it. He's no Wemby. He's no Wemby. He doesn't get the angel music. We didn't designate that for him.
How'd Wemby do versus the Clippers?
I didn't watch that game. I only watched the one before it. I couldn't. My TV was messed up on that night, so I don't know. But I watched the Rockets one when he took over in the fourth quarter and overtime. I did watch.
Okay, all right.
I did watch that one.
Okay.
I think that's it. I think we did it again, Jason. Perfect from the field.
Once again.
Way to go.
NBA, don't shortchange us on our stats.
Give us our stats, NBA. At the NBA, LOL.
Adam Silver, stop trying to step on the big three and give me my stats.
We close every episode of Six Trophies just by saying the names of underappreciated old basketball players with no context at all while the theme music carries us out. Zuri, will you play the theme music, please? I'm Shea Serrano. That's Jason Concepcion. Producer Zuri and the shadows making the noises. See y'all next Wednesday. Terry Porter.
Ooh. Knicks legend, Roni Turioff.
Willie Anderson.
Knicks legend, Jarrett Jack.
Kendall Gill.
Chris Taft.
AJ English.
Julius Hodge.
David Wingate.
Drew Gooden.